Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Deez, this is my workshop. This is going to be part 2 of my Machinist Jack build. You noticed I had completed in the last video, I showed that I'm going to make 4 of these jacks. They're going to be officially called Mini Nested Machinist Jacks, meaning that there's going to be 3 levels of screwed adjustable steps in the actual Machinist Jack. You could take the top one out and just use one if you need it a little bit shorter. Take the bottom one out and just use it as a spacer. You know, whatever you want. It's just a very simple concept. Just something that you can use on a milling machine and raise and lower and support any parts that you might have sticking out of your vise. I was thinking about the lengths and the shortness and the heights, and as per my exact design, again, every project that I do is fluid and changes as I go. What I'm going to do is make all of my components the same height, roughly the same height. The threaded portion will go in as far as it goes in. Each of the steps, the flat portion that will support the material will be a 1/4 inch in thickness. The rest of it will be a threaded rod to mount together. And then we'll clean up the outsides of it. If for some reason you're working on some material that's a little too short, you can always use a 1, 2, 3 block and put this on top of that. There's another inch. So an inch, 2 or 3, however, whatever you're doing. There's all kinds of ways. If anything, this just gives you that little additional micro tuning where you're going to shore up some material. At any rate, we're going to continue on, and we're hopefully going to finish these in this video, and we'll have ourselves 4 Machinist Jack. Hope you enjoy. Let's get started. I need to turn this down so that I can thread 1/2 inch 20 with my die. And I think what I'm going to do is shoot for, I don't know, 4 or 5 thou under 500 thou. So 495 thou, and then we're going to give it a shot. So right now, this is measuring, it should be 500 thou. Or no, it's 3/4, sorry. 749 thou, so that's 3/4. I need to turn that down to 495. That's what I'm shooting for, and then we're going to give it a shot. I've got 4 of these to make, but this is our first one. We're going to bring that down to 495. There's 500 thou. We are right at 500 thou. I mean, I can't really make that any closer. I am going to shave another thou or 2 off of here, and then we're going to use a die and we're going to thread this out. So that's pretty good. 2 thou under. Let's shave a little bit more off, and then we'll get to we'll chamfer this, and then we'll use our die threading. Let's see where we ended up. That's not right. 495. That's what I wanted. The next step is to use our tailstock die holder, and we're going to try to, well, first we're going to chamfer this, and then we're going to try to put a thread on this. So we got this turned down to 495 thou. I've got my 1/2 inch die in my custom tailstock die holder, and we're going to try to thread this out to 1/2 inch threads, 1/2 inch 20. Let's get started. I'm going to use some of this Chesterton oil. Let's get started. You get the idea. I've been working on this. This is a very good thread engagement, but I need to go all the way up. But as you can see, that's turning out very well. So what I'm going to do is finish these off camera, because this is just going to take forever. So I'm going to get all 4 of these threads done. Then we'll move on to the final piece. All right, I got a new game plan. Considering what I'm making, I don't need 100% of the threads, the total thread length, to be engaged, and I'm still not a big fan of using dies to thread with. This was a monumental pain in the butt. However, I think I'm going to change up my design to, I'm going to do about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of actual good quality threads, and then the rest of it I'm just going to smooth off. The reason for that is I just need the bottom portion of that. I need several good threads to really engage, to raise this up. I don't need all this stuff to be threaded. So I'm going to just smooth all that down, turn it down, and then maybe a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch will actually be proper threads. I think I might just go with a 1/2 inch. I think that's plenty of threads to give a good solid quality engagement. And it'll be a lot less frustrating for me. So that's what I'm going to do, and that will be how I'm going to complete the other 3 of these, the middle portion of this Machinist Jack. So I just want to share that with you. Change of plans. Alright, so here's the new design. We're just going to thread the bottom 1/2 inch of this, and then let's test it and make sure we got our threads okay, because that's really all I need is the bottom portion of that to be able to extend up and down. There we go. So much less of a pain. That's what we're going to do with the rest. I like that. Let's see if this fits. All right, so over the course of the 4 pieces that I made, I learned, kind of adapted, overcame some challenges, and I think I got a system down. Look at that, fits very nice. All right, let's get this out of here, and I'm gonna take a break. This has been a long evening with these pieces, and then we'll finish up the final 3rd piece that will go on the top. I finished the next operation, which was to create the center posts. So this is a nested jack, like I've said multiple times, and I finished creating the center posts. Cleaning up everything will be my last operation, but anyway, so the idea is to have a base and then the center post, and then finally I'll have a 3rd tier on top that will actually be the final jack portion of these. So, of these Machinist Jacks. So here's it. This takes a lot longer to load these up. I'm sure there's a better productive way, a production sort of way to do this kind of stuff. This is my first go at making multiple items of the same, you know, like a quote-unquote production run. But at any rate, I adapted. If you noticed, when I first started, I was trying to thread this entire shaft, and that might give it more stability. However, it really is unnecessary. I don't need all this up here at the top threaded. This doesn't need to be threaded. I only need about a 1/2 inch thread tops down at the bottom of this portion, and the reason for that is it's a jack, and when you were to, if you were to extend this, that's as high up as it's going to be. That's almost 2.5 inches just with the 2 pieces. And again, because the bottom is threaded and the inside diameter is also threaded all the way down, this can go all the way down. And I just don't need to be frustrated with trying to thread that entire shaft. So there's that. And then we adapted. Here's what they look like now. This is my sort of second design. So none of this needs to be threaded, just this bottom portion. And then, of course, that can thread in there. You know, like that's as high, that's over 2.5 inches for that piece. And then we can just thread that down and keep going. I got a lot of cleanup and deburring and stuff to do, but we're really making a lot of progress. These are starting to take shape, and you can kind of start to envision. They don't just look like bushings or thread gauges or anything like that. They're starting to take shape. There's the second one. Again, I adapted after that first one. I thought there's got to be a better way, and you can see that was my adaptation. And now these just thread right in there. Nice. So I like how this is going, and that's actually going to simplify the final 3rd piece that I make. And I'm glad I didn't start on those yet, because I'm just going to make those. I'm going to do the threading operation with the die before I part any of this off, so I got more material to latch onto. But like I said, we can screw these down, and there we go. So it's coming together. They're taking shape. I'm pretty happy with the way they're going. They're going to come out nice, I think. And yeah, so I'm going to stop the video here, but we're going to finish up the last pieces, and then then we'll get everything cleaned up. Well, we're going to continue on with this project. Organized chaos is what I'm going to call it. But you can see I've got aluminum everywhere. But that's part of it. Making chips, making a project. And now we're going to complete this thing today. Let's get started. All right, we got you in here for hopefully our last set of operations. This is going to be the final third tier in our Machinist Jack. What I want to do is go ahead and get this turned down to just under 1/4 inch so I can thread about a 1/2 inch section of this. The rest of it will be shaved down, and then we'll clean up the side, or clean up the face, and then we're going to part it off. So I'm going to try to complete this entire piece in a single operation with the exception of the final chamfer. Actually, I'm going to do that too. You'll see. But I want to try to complete all of these operations in a single operation. I may need to chuck it back up and face off the top of it, but we'll get to that at the very end. I'm going to try to do as much as I can without pulling this piece out. So the first thing is to measure up how far over we want to be. Let me grab a marker. And I'm just going to base it off of all these. So again, my plans have changed. I'm going to base it off of these. So all of the jack portions are 1 inch, and then the top is 1/4 inch thick, or pretty close. So I want to turn down 1 inch section. And then I'm just going to thread about a 1/2 inch. So right in there is about 1 inch. And I could make these taller, but for now, this is what I'm going to go with. And then we will get to turning this. So let's mark this. About a 1/2 inch right now. We want to turn that down to 250 thou, 245 thou, so I can get ready for my die. we got our part made. Dish it out of here. There it is. We will have one more cleanup operation to do. Like I said, I'm making a lot of chips, a lot of mess here. That's okay. That's what we do. Alright, let me clean this up a little bit. Okay, there is the top part. Other than some further cleanup, maybe I just need to face it off really. That's going to be the top portion basically completed. I don't see any need to really mess with it any further. So it's just, I mean, it's just a bolt really, but it's going to fit in our nested design. Of course, like I said before, I need to get another tap so I can go deeper into the middle portion. But as you can see, that's essentially how this is going to work. You'll be able to crank these out and get some height on whatever part you're trying to shore up. So there's the kind of the vision that I was going for. So I'm going to make 3 more of these. I'm going to do that off camera because you just seen what it took to get to this point. And then I'll bring you back when we start completing these parts up. I want to face all this stuff off, clean it up, make these things look nice and presentable. So there's number 1, 3 more to go. So I've got all 4 of my parts made, and they all need some finish work on them. Primarily, I just need to face them off. One of them I forgot to turn down the OD, so it needs a little cleaning up. But what we're going to do is put these back in the chuck and see if I can't just face these off. Nice and easy like. Tighten that down. And we'll just knock these out real quick. Won't take much. Just like that. Perfect. Let's knock these other three out real quick. I like that collet chuck. There's our finished part there. There's one. Worked out pretty good. So I used the 1/4" collet to hold on to the threads. I didn't want to, but I missed an operation, so I was able to face that off and finish out that part. There we go. So all four of my top pieces are complete. Okay, same deal. I'm going to put a chamfer on this is the middle section. I'm going to grab onto them using my collet, the 1/2" collet, and that seemed to work with the 1/4", so hopefully with the 1/2" thread it'll hold on pretty good. And we're just going to put a chamfer, and then I'm also going to put a little bit more of a bevel chamfer for my threaded hole. Beautiful. That's one of the best ones there. So we've got all of our middle pieces done, except for, of course, threading them deeper. And now I want to clean up the final pieces, which are my base units. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try this method. I'm going to thread these down and try to chuck up my 3/4" collet and see if that works. Alright, here's the setup. I'm going to clean this out, the OD of this. That's really all I want to do is clean the OD. I will need to put another chamfer on, so I'll have to take this off, flip it over, and then put the chamfer on the other side because it's a little too close. But I think this is going to work. Let me get my tool cutter proper. Give it a bit of an angle so I got clearance. Bring it out, and here we go. I just want to clean up the OD, make these things look presentable. we've got a nice base cleaned up. Here's our middle portion, and then of course you've seen the top. Everything's all cleaned up, chamfered, looking nice. Like I said, the only other thing is I need to tap these a little deeper, and I'll do that when I get my tap. Wish I had it, but the local stores don't have one. I'm gonna have to order it. There we go. Last one. Look nice. Very nice. Last thing I want to do is clean this screw up. So I need to take this one out. So close enough. Out nice. I do want to clean this one up too. Yeah, that turns. Good. All right. Should be, other than threading, should be the final turning operation I need to do. Let's keep you there and you can watch me finish this up. You need to get in there. I think I'll go right there. Nice. Clean that up. All right, I'm gonna bring you over to the workbench and we'll do some closer inspection. I just thought I'd share this with you. We've got our Machinist Jacks finished, with the exception of tapped the center of these 1/4-20. They're tapped. They're just only tapped partial. I don't have a tap that's deep enough, long enough. it's got a flare. My tap has a flare on it. It prevents me from going as far in as I want. So I need to order a tap that's longer in length to complete these center pieces. However, all the machining is done otherwise for these Machinist jacks. Here's the base. All of those cleaned up really nicely. Got them chamfered. I need to blow them out. A little bit of swarth in there, but this is how they're gonna go together. This was my vision. Changed from my original plan a little bit, but that's how all my projects are. And then finally, one of these. And I wish I had my tap to finish that, but that's the idea. When I get my tap, this will go all the way down, and they're all nested together. And if you need to support something on your mill, you can raise these up as high as they'll go and still provide stability, you know, something like that. So get that out of the way. So there we go. And if we take a look at it, let me grab a better scale. So we've got 3.5, well, about 3.5 inches that I could extend that out to. So I think that's going to work fine. That covers anything I would need to put on the milling machine. And again, I could always put a 1, 2, 3 block underneath this as well to raise it up. But quite happy with how these are turning out. I'm going to get that tap, we'll finish these up, and then I'll close the video out. Let's go ahead and knock these things out. This is the final operation I need to do. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I needed to find a tap that I could complete threading the middle section of the jack out with 1/4-20. So I talked to my dad, and he had an old long tap with a milled down shank on it, and it was not originally a bottom tap, but they customized it, cut the tip off to make a bottom tap out of it. But at any rate, this is going to actually work through there, work great. So this is going to let me finish this project, but I'm going to use the collet chuck again, mount these up, and finish tapping these out. So let's bring you over to the lathe. We'll walk that out real quick, and then we'll summarize this video with the completed project. All right, let's go ahead and tap one of these. I'll just do one on camera, and then they'll knock the rest out so I can get this project completed. But we're going to be able to tap all these like we want. And what I'm going to do is just start this tap as best I can, then I'll finish it with a wrench. I'm going to use some drill hog cutting oil this time. You get that in there, kind of get it started. There we go. Put some of that on there. A little goes a long way. Just run it in until it stops. There we go. go. We'll go clean these off. I'm gonna do the rest off camera. There's no sense in wasting your time with that. And then we'll bring you over to the bench and we'll recap, close out this project. This is the final closing out of my Machinist Jack build. I built 4 of them. I've got everything threaded the way I wanted it. My dad had a tap that had a narrow shank, but it was much longer, so I was able to complete the tapping of the middle portion of my jack. Thank you, Dad. And then finally, we've got these 3 already assembled, cleaned up, just kind of wanted to make sure everything's fitting. Let's go ahead and put this one together. So here is the middle portion. Threads on there nicely. And finally, the top portion. Let's make sure it threads on there nicely. There we go. There is my nested Machinist Jack build complete. Let me grab a ruler and we'll do some final measurements. They're not all 100% the same. It's not what I was going for. They're all pretty close though. So at a minimum, this one is an inch and, well, 1.25 inches if you want to take off both of the jack portions. It'd be 1.5 inches if you want to leave the middle tier, and 1.75 inches if you leave the top tier. And then of course you have some fine adjustments by way of unscrewing these pieces, these sections, as you need. So you can fine-tune adjustment that into your workpiece over on the mill. Again, they're not all identical, but they're all very close. Yep, 1.75 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. So 3 of them are more so on point. The last one I just left kind of long. It's 1 3/8 inches. It's 2 inches without being stacked up, and if you want to extend it, you know, of course you can go a little farther. So at any rate, they're all 3 complete. I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to put in a clip of the jacks closer. I know a lot of you like to see these things up close, and I'll put that in right here. All right, everybody, final recap close-up video. Like I said, we ended up with about 1.25 inches for the base. Let's measure it this way. Yeah, 1.25 inches for the base, about 1.5 inches to the middle tier, and then about 1.75 inches for the top tier for most of these. As you can see, they all turned out very well. You can flip-flop the base. These aren't anything fancy. I didn't add any knurling or anything like that. I don't really think that's necessary for these. So there is our completed pieces. Take this one apart. Turned out, I'm pretty happy with these. These turned out very nice. They're not heavy duty, they're aluminum. You could break them if you wanted to be aggressive with these things, but for what they are, just provide a little bit of support on the end of a piece that's sticking out on your milling machine. I think these are very nice. This one had a blemish on the original starting stock that I had. But at any rate, there we go. 1, 2, 3. And 4. This is the taller one. All in all, I like it. It was a fun project. Okay, well, thanks for watching along. I hope you enjoyed. This was a fun project. Some final thoughts are, if you are looking to do some practicing on parting, using a tap, using a die, chamfering, and just doing some turning projects, make a set of these. You'll be doing a lot of parting. You'll be doing a lot of threading with the taps and dies. You'll be needing to practice your diameters, your drill diameters, your final turn down diameters, use your dies. There's a lot of good things that you practice with this particular project. At any rate, I'm closing the video out here. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And any feedback you have, go ahead, put it down there. Thanks for watching.